Good morning, Artesia Radio Show, and we want to bring on the air with us Joseph Rivera. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Gene. Good morning.
Hey, happy Tuesday. Feels like Monday.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I need a day off from the day off.
That's right. A day off from the day off. Joseph's been on with us before. We talked about the mule deer hunting situation here in southeastern New Mexico, and you sent me a couple of notes. There's been some updates. Game and Fish has had some meetings, and they've been talking about, at least trying to listen to you guys about the policy changes they want to make regarding the mule deer population. Want to kind of bring us up to date to where we are right now?
Yes, on August 19th and 20th, they had their last public comment meeting in general for all species and all hunt changes, policies, and we have till basically, believe, I don't know if I have the date right, it's I think October 14th, where they're going to present to the commission, and the commission is going to approve the final changes, and so we're almost to that point. And there were some changes that happened here in southeast New Mexico. They did acknowledge that the good majority of all of the changes were going to have to happen down here because they received the most comment from the public, and we didn't quite get what we wanted to this point, but we could do more. So that's kind of having several of us here in this part of the state wanting to go forward with our next project, because we just don't see, very many satisfactory changes is what we had hoped for, to save the mule deer species, because they admitted public comments that in this part of the state saw the most dramatic drop in the population.
Now, are they trying to, what were they trying to say, or in their hearings that they were explaining as the reasons for the drop in the population? And then were you able to say, well, that may be true, but here's what's really going on?
Right. Well, in two different parts, the chief of New Mexico Game and Fish is Stuart Lively. He is the one that is taking all the information from around the state from within that agency and compiling the proposal changes to the Game and Fish Commission. And in that meeting in August, and one part of his lecture to the commission was drought, the other one was predations. It's part of the factors and all that. There's no two ways about that. Here in this part of the state, we're going to have to deal with that. But to me, it's hunting pressure. I mean, when you have, in our mountains, the Guadalupes and the Sacramentos, when you have close to 5,200 mule deer tags, it's just too much. Historically, we've always had to deal with apex predations and drought, but we've always had, been able to go out and hunt and see herds of deer, does and fawns and plus bucks. But here lately, all these contributing factors are adding to it. But I know for a fact from the visiting with a lot of locals here in southeast New Mexico, up in the mountains, out towards Alamogordo, everyone says there's just too many hunters over here now. And so we've certainly put our best foot forward all this year to try to get them to convince that. And what they did is in Unit 34, they only reduced 170 tags. In Unit 30, they only reduced 140 tags, and that's probably about 1% drop in the license they plan on giving away for the next 4 years. And with the Roxy law kicked in, which they banned trapping using snares. That trapping is in the fall and winter months. So by the time we get into March, April, May of next year, we're really going to see, apex predations really be the dominant force, we don't have a whole lot of mule deer left, and that has been my biggest position all year long. I was mostly worried about the Roxy law, that it was going to be the number one reason why mule deer populations are disappearing, because, once those pack of coyotes know where to go to chase those small herds of deer we have, especially out in the plains in southeast New Mexico, it's really going to become a problem.
Right, and I think one of the proposals that your folks have been putting forth was try to divide the area up into different sections so that each section could be managed better. I take it that did not
Absolutely.
make that did that make it into the into this proposal they were looking at?
No, it didn't. In fact, we went out just this weekend and went into some public land. You know, there's a couple of areas that have state land that you can't cross unless you have a hunt. It's not private, but you can't cross it anymore. So you just look from the road, and in past years we could always see if there was deer in certain pockets, and we didn't see any deer. And 2 days of going out, we didn't see a single deer, and walked up on a herd of elk. There must have been, in an open area, in open mountains, there must have been maybe 80 or 90 of them in a herd. Just, I think they've got so used to humans, they're like cows, you know, just standing there looking at us. And so that's going to continue to build, Gene. That's going to, you know, I understand that people want to go hunt elk, but once again, the problem is that on that east and west boundary, what we had hoped, we didn't see any elk hunters down there. And on September 1st, the bow hunt started for both elk and deer. And this affected area on the east side of Unit 34, we did not see any elk hunters over there. And that's the problem. Everyone wants to go up into the high country and go camp and hunt elk, you know, how they traditionally have, which to me is a much more harder hunt, you know, and it's just not working out the way things need to be done, you know, to manage the number of bulls on the east side of Unit 34 and the mule deer population on the east side of Unit 34. In a few years from now, it's going to be a big problem. We're kind of headed for I don't know what the right term would be, a showdown, or, you know, it's going to be catastrophic for the mule deer. And that's why we've decided to go a different direction with all this, because we just don't see game and fish, you know, satisfying people in this part of the state, you know, about the population with the mule deer.
So if they're not careful, it's going to wipe out the mule deer population. They're not going to. I mean, are they making a ton of money off of these permits, these tags that they sell every year?
That is exactly what this is all about, Gene. I visited when of course, you know, through the IPRA request, I got the mule deer survey from December, which was, they didn't even go into that affected area on the east side of Unit 34. They flew from more or less the Mocock Ranch, Mule Canyon, and flew straight to the Cuervo Canyon. It doesn't show if they went from right to left or left to right. They hit the Cuervo Canyon Road, and then they flew back up. So they didn't even go from there all the way to Pinon. And to answer your question, you know, they know that the elk is overwhelming the east side of Unit 34, and it's always about the money. You know, I've always said from day one that it's the bulls that are causing the most trouble over there, because in them open mountains, it's easy to see what's tearing up the vegetation over there. And so, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me, you know, there's not a whole lot of hunters on that east side of Unit 34. And so, but ultimately, you know, what we're trying to do is, you know, even this coming weekend, we'll go back up, visit some folks at their camps. Hey, you know, go over here and try to get people to go down there. But that's what it always comes down to in this world, you know, a lot of times with a lot of topics, you know, it's about money, you know, about, you know, making money off these elk tags, because they only proposing to add 2 antlerless elk tags and increase in the youth hunt. Those are cow tags, not bull tags, and add 450 elk tags to Unit 34, but it's a unit-wide hunt. There's nothing that you know...
there's nothing to say stay on the...
The problem is the bulls. And
right.
There's a lot of money to be made there.
And they're not saying stay on the east side, and they're not dividing it up. Joseph, if folks want to get a hold of you, if they want to get involved with this, what's the best way that folks that have an interest in this should reach out to you?
Same email. It's a little bit lengthy one, but a simple one. It's NM. Well, sorry, it's NM for New Mexico, Unit 34, Mule Deer recovery. We had to abbreviate program, PROG,
at Gmail.
gmail.com, all one word.
All right. We've got it here. We can share it with folks. And I know you've got to bring off here at 8 o'clock. We've got to go to the news. But let's talk again here in a couple of weeks and see how we can help out, okay?
Yeah, we're looking at building a website. We're ready to take donations. You know, we're looking at getting represented. You know, that's the last option that we have. And so we're definitely, once that website is up, we got to register as a 501 nonprofit. And so once we get that squared away and get that website down, we'll reach back out to everybody.
And we'll help spread the word. Joseph, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot. Let's go to the news.
And then taking